All right, so a lot of people are looking at this guy right here, the SeqTrak. I think they call it SeqTrak or whatever, by Yamaha. And you hear a lot of people saying this is well, I've heard people say OP1 killer, and I'm going to say up front that's not even close to that. It's not even, I don't even think they're trying to mimic exactly what that does. For one, it's not a tape as far as I know, and the OP1 is focused on using tape, which is a bit different, even though they show a tape down here in the corner of one of these pictures. I know it's bothering probably some that it keeps moving, so I'm going to pause it. What I can say is I spent some time doing the research, looking behind it to see what it has that might be fun, what it has that potentially mimics some of the TE stuff. And so, yes, its shape is very similar to the OP1 field. And if you've watched my videos, you know I've had the OP1. I've had the original before, I've used it, and I've had the field. So I can speak on those. I'm trying to see if they have it on the website. There it is. That guy right there. So I can tell you right now, people keep saying, well, the price is $5.99. It's not the right price on the website. It does say that, but that's the, I think, MSRP price, or MSRP rather, I'm sorry, price. When it's in the store, it's actually $3.99. So it is about $100 cheaper than what the OPZ is going for right now. The OPZ is going for $4.99. So yes, the buttons on the OPZ are smaller, and obviously you can add knobs to these things right here to use them. You don't have to, but you can. This thing has more knobs and these little keys. I do not think, based on what I've read, that it is velocity sensitive. Maybe if you plug a keyboard into it, maybe you could use that through the MIDI. It probably would give you that. But at the current stage that I know of right now, based on what I've read, there is no velocity sensitivity on these particular keys right here. The knobs are kind of cool, I'll give it that. What I've heard from the sound, it sounds okay. They both have a visualizer of some sort. I would say this one looks old to me, kind of outdated. I think the OPZ one is pretty neat looking. I have not had the OPZ in my hands, but I've seen those things a lot. But I can say that it's trying, if I would say anything, is mimicking the OPZ more, because the OPZ is a sequencer. It's a multimedia sequencer. Now, here's what I up front don't like about it. Not the OPZ, but the this new one. People are like, well, yeah, it does sample. Okay, it lets you have, these keys here are 4 samples, right? Or 7 samples that you can have. But it does not let you sample to the drum track. Whatever the drums are, that's what they are. You can change the sound of the drums. You can shape the drums that are in there, but you cannot, as of the current situation, based on what's known, you cannot change these drums out and put your own drum sounds in. So that means these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drum tracks here are just what they are. They're your drum tracks. Now you can, let's say you want to put the snare here for some reason and the kick here, you can do that. I know you can move those around and change them, but you cannot put your own sounds in here. Also, this thing only gives you 1 octave. If you look here, you can see it starts just like the OP1. The OPZ has 2 octaves, okay? So you have 2 octaves. You have way more sounds. You can bring in other sounds and change all the stock sounds out and put your, which is to me the best when it comes down. Plus, this is the size of a remote control, which this thing is more like the OP1 size, but it actually feels like it's a little bit bigger because they extend it with all these extra buttons and knobs. You can do scales on this. However, the scales only work in here. So you only get the 7 notes. Piano has 12 notes, right? In music, there's generally 12 notes, right? So 7 notes typically is what falls in a scale. It's some scales, like I think some of the Asian scales have less than 7 notes, but generally speaking, there's 7 notes in a scale for the most part on most scales. So you only get 1 octave. You get this, which I just don't really care for 7 scales personally. I don't think that's good. You get the 2 cents, which is like, okay, and you get the sampler, and then they have the DX7, looks like sounds in there for like the FM synth portion of it. So while I do like the DX7 stuff and it's cool and all, I'd much rather have more sampling capabilities to come in here than just using their synths, because I know I would get bored with that. Like, I would really get bored with that. And only having 7 slots to put your own samples. Now, this thing would have been cool if they had put a micro USB-C on here where you could bring in all the sounds you want, your drums, and they let you put your drums into, these slots, like your own personal sounds. I think that if they do that in a firmware update would make it really, really worthy, but it's still not bad of a price. I'm not going to knock the price. $399 is a great price. And for somebody that kind of wants that TE-like stuff, this is probably good. I'll tell you whether I'm thinking about ordering one or not. But there's so much more this thing can do, the OPZ, that it's insanity to compare it to it. They both do have apps. I think the app is more intuitive on the SeqTrak based on the videos I've seen. It seems a little more intuitive, but I think this being on the phone and being able to carry my iPhone around and just use it would be more of something I would like. Let's see, just so you know, they do have a mixer. Obviously, both of them have a mixer, tempo, stuff of that nature. But if you're not into step sequencing, I'm not going to say you can't use these things, because both of them can plug a MIDI controller into. But I just don't see, in my personal opinion, why you would even want this if you don't like MIDI sequencing. Now, this one does have the modules that you can get. So there's the line module, which allows you to sample in and have that. And then you have, this is the original one, I think, right here, the OP Lab or whatever. And then the rumble is like I think it has bass on it, so it makes your rumble a little bit to feel the bass as you're playing. I personally don't see a need for these two, in my opinion. Somebody else will feel differently. But if I had, and this to me just looks like an updated version of it. Like, this one had the gate and CV. This one's more giving you 2 lines. One line you can use for headphones, and I guess the other one's just a line in. Oh, this is a line out. This is a line in. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. So the line module is kind of neat. It's not cheap. I think it's like $150 or something like that for a line module to have it. If I'm moving fast, sorry on the camera if it goes fast. But so anyway, I would compare it more to this. They're both step sequencers. But this one has more trigs if you're into that. And I know that the sequencer does have some trigs, but I don't think they're, based on what I saw, they're nothing spectacular. They both can have the note repeat stuff where you put the ratchet steps in. But again, you're step sequencing that in. You're not playing note repeats in the same way you would, like if you're on an MPC, or even on the other thing that Teenage Engine offers now, which is the EP, the KO2, right? So in the KO2, you can actually play it, your ratchets into the sound. So this product, in my opinion, first of all, I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the colors. They're kind of hideous. I don't know why, I just don't like the colors. I don't like the 2-tone color. If it was just all one color, I think the black is probably, if I had to pick one, I'd probably say the black. This one is the better looking one of the two. But this thing is long too. Like, I'm looking at it like with a speaker on it. So it's almost like they took parts from different parts of TE and tried to mash together what they thought was the best, and then added their own little flavor to it. So a speaker is on, for instance, there is a speaker on the OP1. There is also a speaker on the KO2 that's out. So they kind of put that. There's, as far as I know, there's no speaker on this one. Yeah, I don't think there's a speaker on here. But you can plug a mic into it. You can use, actually, you can use it as a mic. Actually, I take that back, because I'm not sure if this is the mic or if this is a speaker right here. So I can't remember. Right now, I can't remember that part. But I will say that they pretty much are taking parts and ideas to build this. That one octave thing frustrates me though. I would rather have more octaves personally. These strips here look like, I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, I can't zoom in on this either. They are for, one of them is, what in the world? Yeah, effects level. Okay. So it looks like it says there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's bad because it's not, and for the price, it's probably, some people will love it. Especially if you can't afford a teenage engineering product and you kind of want that vibe to be able to play. Some people would probably really want it. And they got some sounds on board, which I think they said 2,000 plus, yeah, 2,000, over 2,000 presets. So that's kind of cool. How you can tweak the presets, I have no clue. I saw the tweaking of the drums. So I don't know if they have the ADSR for everything or if it's just, one or two things. I'm not exactly sure on that one. There are some effects that are built into it. Let's see what else. Obviously, there's a sequencer. There's a sound editing tools that you'll get. So there's some good in it, and you can do performance. Now, one of the cool things is they have connectivity with the Bluetooth MIDI connectivity wirelessly. So you can do a wireless Bluetooth controller to hook to it if you need more. Let's say you need more, like I was saying, need more keys and more stuff there. You can do that. They do have the MIDI in and out, which is cool, and the USB C, which has the audio out to the computer. So that's kind of cool because that's like having an audio interface. Um, and then there's apparently an aux in to connect the drum machine or other synths or things that you want to do. So that means you could just record in a sample, right? You should be able to bring in a sample with that. So I think there's a lot of cool features on here, but for me, it's still lacking in some areas. It does work for Mac, PC, iOS, and Android, so that's good to know. What I will say is, with this onboard sampling, just so we clear on it, it says capture your own unique sounds effortlessly. The sampler offers 7 slots and a variety of effects, allowing you to shape and transform your samples with ease. So apparently you can sample it. Now it's 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit format. So it's not 24, it's going to be 16, which, they could get, give or take, it is what it is. So to compare it to the OP1, first of all, the OP1 field can do, I think, 32-bit, if I'm not mistaken. This thing is 16-bit, so it's definitely on more of an OPZ vibe. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, even the EP133, which I had for a little while, I think it does 24-bit. So I might be wrong on that. I'll have to look it up to clarify, but I think it can do that. So putting effects on your samples, but I don't think it says say a phrase, tap a spoon, or record your favorite, then customize to create polished tracks. I don't think it has resampling. I'm pretty confident with that there is no resampling on this. So that to me is kind of a bummer. Like, to me, out the gate, you need resampling without a doubt. It's not even really a true sampler without resampling. And that's why the EP133 that they make is, for me, is kind of a bummer too, that TE didn't put that on there either. So, but OPZ is known for being a great sequencer. And you can see how they do their tracks. So here's a kick, snare, hat, and then you have a sample, the bass, and then I think this is like a lead track, and this is like a chord track, if I'm not mistaken. I think this is a chord track. And then there's all these other things that I'm not going to even get into, that if you, you can look at some of the TE OPZ videos of some of the stuff you can do with this thing. Is phenomenal. Particularly check out Chord Master, and check out Cuckoo, and check out, I don't want to miss his name. Oh, Sun Woo, yeah. And check out Sun Woo is really impressive to me, because he takes this thing to other levels where I'm normally not a step sequencer person, but he makes it look pretty cool because he can do all kinds of styles of music with it, which to me is a big thing. Now, the internal sounds of this thing, I don't think they sound, the kicks, the drums sound pretty good, but I don't think I like the synth sounds in here. But the great thing is that's okay because you can actually change it. If you get the SeqTrak, I'm tearing this up name wise, you're getting some Yamaha sounds, but that's what you got. Okay, so there's no changing those. I mean, you can shape them, sound shape them, but you can't, or sound design them, shape them, however you want to term it. But you cannot like technically you can't bring your own in unless you're going to use your sample tracks. And then I don't know how they play when they work with the samples. So that's something you'll have to figure out. I would say if you just desperately want it, then get it. But I would say if you can wait, I would highly advise you to wait and see what other people say and what they think. Because unless you like the drums that it comes with, which I think I think they're basic drums, or if I'm not mistaken, the stuff I've heard sound really like generic drums to me. I couldn't do it. I'd be like frustrated. I'd want more from it and I'd feel like I can't get it. Now, it does say they have 11 tracks. Remind you, 7 of those tracks are for drums only. So that leaves you, I think, 2 synth, the DX track, and then the sampler track. So you got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's exactly what it is, right? That's for the 11. Preset sounds, they actually say 2,032 preset sounds. 392 of them can be added from the SeqTrak app. So apparently you have to switch out some sounds maybe. Is that what that's saying? Can be added. 392. Interesting. I mean, to see what else it does. So there's 8 projects that can be saved on there. And of course you can move projects in and out. That's kind of a cool feature. The headphone jack is there, the audio in, the MIDI, have the MIDI in and out. And I think they include that cable. But here's something that I don't like. Look at this. It says only included cable can be used. MIDI in and out, only included cable can be used. Like what? Like you can't use any other cable? MIDI cable on it? Anyway, I guess we'll have to wait and see what people say. USB audio. So the sampling frequency is 44.1. It does say here 24-bit, although it did say on that other page. Oh, this is from the USB audio interface. Okay, so the audio interface has 24-bit, 44.1 kilohertz. But the other one must be the internal sounds then, or 16-bit? I don't know what that's in. Now, here's something I've touched on. I said before, the battery life, continuous use is only 3 to 4 hours. That's terrible. So I'm pretty sure, let me see if I can find it for you here. So did you know I'm not just saying this stuff off the cuff. I know a lot of people want you to prove it almost to them. But I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, TE does really good with regards to their time. So let me see. Nope, that's not what I want. I was trying to find the battery life for you. Yeah, now they're just selling me other stuff. I want to know what the battery life is. Of course, they have accessories. We know that. Here we go. It should be down here, right? And I don't see it. Oh, okay. So it has a 6-hour battery life. There you go. 6-hour battery life. So not bad. Oh, and it does have wireless Bluetooth. So I was thinking it didn't at first because I know it's been out for a little while. But it does have wireless Bluetooth. So there you go. And it looks like they do a year standby time user replacement. I have no clue what that means with regards to the battery. But yeah, so there you go. So 6 hours. So it's about double the time in here. And I know some people that say they've gotten longer on these things than 6 hours. So you have to just take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. So here's the 16 tracks, by the way. This is for the OPZ. 16 tracks, and the SeqTrak thing has 11. They give you the kick, snare, percussion. The sampler is the number 4, the bass, the lead, and the arpeggiato track. And then they have a chords track. So actually you get a bunch of other tracks. And then they have 9, 10 as effect slots. 11 is a tape, which I always forget there's a tape on here too. Then there's the master, then the performance, then the module has, I guess has something that's weird. Then there's 15 is the light, and then there's 16 the motion. So just like they have motion on here, they got motion on the SeqTrak. Anyway, and here's your tracks up here, right? And then here's the 2 octaves I was saying. So it has 2 octaves for you to play, which is nice if you're trying to build your own chords so that you can play some inverted chords. Anybody that likes chords, they know what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're going to be with that SeqTrak, you're going to be stuck unless you plug in a MIDI keyboard with 1 octave to work with. All right. OPZ app. Yep. So they both have apps. That's great. Okay, so here we go. This is what I want. So advanced multi-speed 16-track sequencer. So you have step components. You have endless sequencing steps. You have track independent links. You got track independent speed. You got parameter locks. So you have, and then you of course stop recording, live recording. You can live record in parts, meaning you can play it in. Multi-sequencing, image and 3D graphics sequencing, which it does have that. And then the DMX light sequencing, which you would need an external interface for that. So it can, I guess it can act as a controller. Oh, by the way, this can be a controller as well as the, I believe this one can act as a controller too, because they both have the Bluetooth MIDI. So, and the Bluetooth works to help you pair it with your phone. So if you want to use that for your screen, which makes it portable, because let's be honest, most people have a phone with them. And you can do the video thing on the phone too, which is kind of cool. I believe you can do the video. Most people have the phone with them. So a remote control on a phone, and you got this whole thing. Or if you have your iPad, just use your iPad to do it. Let's see, what else? There you go. So I know a lot of people complain about the buttons sticking on this one. I think you won't have that problem. Maybe it doesn't seem to be you would have that problem as much. All right, I'm gonna pause this so it don't keep jumping on this one, because these are more like little, they almost look like pads, but they're actually just little clicky buttons. So that's something that hopefully in the future TE will, and I'm not a TE fanboy. I like TE stuff, but I'm with most people, their stuff is kind of pricey, and it's gotta move me to create, or I would not buy if it did. Now I really want to try the OPZ. If TE is watching, hey, send me something. Let me try it. I've tried. I'll talk it up if I try it and it's nice. But yeah. So anywho, they probably won't send me that. Let me be quiet. All right. So yeah, so the Yamaha was cool. So I like Yamaha's piano stuff. Their piano stuff is always really nice. And I want to say they dropped a little drum machine type thing recently that I've heard a couple of people use for drumming, and it sounds pretty good. If I'm thinking that's the same that Yamaha made it. I can't remember what the name of it's called, but you know, it is what it is. So, and you know, be honest with you, this is just the first. This is what I think is releasing in February, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see where they go from there. I mean, they may decide later on, you know what, let's unlock where you can bring in the drum samples, your own drum sample. If they do that, then I think this will be more of something that might be a grab, especially at that price, if they decide to unlock that. But in the meantime, I don't think I will be grabbing it right out the gate. I'm going to wait and see what people say about it more. I'm going to wait and see what people think. And I think I am personally not on board yet until I see where it's gonna go. I don't want to be the early adopter this time. Sometimes I do like to be the early adopter, but with this one, because there is no resample as far as I know, that kind of features and stuff is something I'd be more. Now I will say the EP1, this guy right here, the Knockout, this thing is nice. Without minus the little, quirks it has or whatever, I actually enjoy this one. So, and that screen is just phenomenal. We all know that. But anyway, that's it for this video. This video was more about my thoughts on the Yamaha SeqTrak, I ain't never gonna get that name right, versus what I know to be, it's, in my opinion, I should say, versus what, in my opinion, is the competition that it's aiming at, which is the OPZ. So this will be interesting to see if this pushes teenage engineering to say, you know what, no, this is our field. Let's step up. So I love the competition because it's gonna just make everybody start, moving and trying to figure out a way to make something that's better or enhancing whatever's out already. But anyway, that's it for this video. I spent way longer than what I wanted to. Let me know if you decide you want to get one. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. If you're not a sequencer, I get it. You don't have to be like, you don't have to hate on it because I'm not either. But just, be respectful and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm out.